WWE SmackDown comes to us on the heels of a packed episode of Raw that some have hailed as the best show of the year. It also follows AEW Dynamite, another banger of a show packed with a loaded card, but the reason WWE SmackDown needs its share of surprises is that it is the final stop before the Extreme Rules pay-per-view happens. It's a critical episode before the upcoming WWE Draft, so there's a lot on the line this week. As always, you are most welcome to share your own surprises in the comments section below. Feel free to weigh in on what we've listed and share your thoughts about whether you'd like to see them happen on the show or not. Number 5. Drew McIntyre faces off with Roman Reigns on WWE SmackDown to tease a dream feud. Drew McIntyre may return to the United States just in time to show up on WWE SmackDown in place of Big E, who will be a part of the Raw brand going forward. It makes sense for this trade to be made because McIntyre has done almost everything he can on the Raw brand. Plus, a Drew McIntyre vs Roman Reigns match is a big ticket draw, as is a future opponent for the likes of Finn Balor, Seth Rollins, and Edge. We saw Big E and Finn Balor team up on WWE SmackDown last week. What if we see Drew McIntyre and Finn Balor form a dream team to maybe take on the Usos before the upcoming pay-per-view this weekend? It would be a great way to hype up the audience for the pay-per-view event this weekend. We've already seen Roman Reigns vs Drew McIntyre at Survivor Series. If you remember, that epic match was a total barn burner. Number 4. A special stipulation is added to an Extreme Rules match. WWE SmackDown stars Liv Morgan and Carmella will go to battle at Extreme Rules this weekend. There is every chance that a special stipulation could be added to the match on this week's WWE SmackDown because of the name of the pay-per-view. Considering that the beauty of both participants has been the subject of conversation, could the loser have to cut her hair? Or it could have something to do with a champagne bottle, which has become synonymous with Carmella. Number 3. The WWE SmackDown audience sees a title change hands. One of the most highly anticipated WWE SmackDown matches this week is for the Intercontinental Championship. Nakamura defends his prestigious title against the ever-impressive Apollo Crews. It has become abundantly clear over the last few weeks that the company does not have any plans for the title with Nakamura as the champion. Is it then possible that he could drop the championship to Apollo Crews on WWE SmackDown this week? Maybe a rematch could happen at Extreme Rules this weekend as well. Number 2. Sasha Banks returns to WWE SmackDown and faces off with Becky Lynch. The WWE SmackDown Women's Champion may be in for a shock before she heads into Extreme Rules this weekend. When she least expects it, Sasha Banks could show up and remind Becky Lynch that she's one of the all-time greatest. She could even tell both of the participants of the upcoming match that she's coming for the winner. Could the WWE SmackDown Women's Championship match at Extreme Rules maybe become a triple threat affair? Number 1. The new WWE Women's Tag Team Champions arrive. Everyone's been saying how Shotzi and Nox from WWE SmackDown deserved a shot at Natalya and Tamina Snuka before the current champions did. But the history books will report that Rhea Ripley and Nikki ASH picked up the victory against the former champions this week on Raw. To set things right, could one babyface team show up on WWE SmackDown and offer a shot to another babyface team at Extreme Rules? Maybe they go to war in a special tables match. April Mendez, also known as AJ Lee, is set to make a rare wrestling convention appearance at the big event in New York on Saturday, November 13th. The former WWE superstar retired from in-ring competition in 2015 shortly after WrestleMania 31. Since then, she has been focusing on projects outside of the wrestling business, including writing books and screenwriting. Her 2017 book, Crazy is My Superpower, was a New York Times bestseller. Eric Bischoff, The Inspiration, formerly known as The Iconics, JBL, Kevin Nash, and Scott Hall, are due to appear on the same day as AJ Lee. Ric Flair is also being advertised for the convention on the Big Events website. AJ Lee married former WWE Champion CM Punk on June 13, 2014. Punk recently returned to wrestling with AEW after a 7-year absence, prompting speculation that Lee could also make an in-ring comeback. "I would love to see it," said Punk. "I get asked that question every single time I do an interview, and I love it. I absolutely love it. I don't think she wants to do it, because she's a teeny tiny person, and she has a bad neck. I think the shelf life for females in wrestling a full schedule, is a lot shorter, it's a lot smaller than men, and I think she's so focused on what she's doing now, writing screenplays." CM Punk added that Lee might one day be receptive to the idea of wrestling again. That being said, he believes returning to the ring can't even enter her vocabulary right now, because she is too busy working on movie scripts. Do you want to see Lee return to the ring at some point? Sound off below. Bayley has sent a heartfelt message to Bryan Danielson, thanking him and stating that she's going to miss having him around. Formerly known as Daniel Bryan in WWE, Danielson made his debut for All Elite Wrestling earlier this month at All Out. Widely regarded as one of the best pro wrestlers in the world right now, he made his in-ring debut at AEW Dynamite, Grand Slam. He went up against current AEW World Champion Kenny Omega in what was a dream match. Ahead of his non-title match against the Cleaner, Bryan Danielson sent out a heartfelt post, thanking WWE and the fans for being a huge part of his career. Reacting to the same, Bayley thanked Danielson and stated that she will miss having him around. Bryan Danielson thanked WWE, his fellow wrestlers, colleagues, crew members, and the fans for supporting him throughout his journey. The former world champion also had some huge praise for Vince McMahon, thanking him for their conversations, life lessons, and the best hug. Thank you to the big man, who I know hates to be acknowledged. I won't say much, but thank you for the conversations, the life lessons, about both what to do and what not to do, and the best hug I've ever received. I wish more people could see you how I see you, said Bryan Danielson. Danielson also thanked the WWE fans who have played a pivotal role in his career, forcing the company to push him to the main event scene at WrestleMania 30. The yes chance will remain to be one of the best crowd reactions in WWE history. Thank you to the WWE fans. You pushed my career to new heights that I never would have reached for on my own. Thank you for cheering me enthusiastically into the main event at WrestleMania 30, and thank you for booing me vociferously against Kofi at WrestleMania 35. Thank you for crying with me when I was forced to retire, and thank you for celebrating with me when I was cleared to compete. Thank you for hijacking that show in Seattle the last time my dad ever got to see me wrestle, said Bryan Danielson. We are merely days away from WWE's next pay-per-view event Extreme Rules. While the show looks pretty good, there may be a few last-minute changes to it. Some of these changes would improve the strength of the card while building further excitement for it. This includes new matches, stipulations, and superstars being added to Extreme Rules, with 6 matches currently scheduled and only 1 gimmick bout. The match card could do with some fine-tuning. It remains to be seen how much WWE will add to this Sunday's event. Among the biggest matches at Extreme Rules is Becky Lynch's defense of the SmackDown Women's Championship against Bianca Belair. It technically is a rematch from SummerSlam, where Lynch replaced Sasha Banks to take on Belair. With the legit boss being medically cleared, there is a small chance she returns on SmackDown and gets added to the title match at Extreme Rules to make it a triple threat. She is due a shot, following her absence from last month's pay-per-view. Meanwhile, WWE might want to protect both Becky Lynch and Bianca Belair for now. If that is the case, Banks could get added to take the fall and further build the program between the man and the EST of WWE. The match would be a lot better for her inclusion. One of the biggest ways WWE can build anticipation for Extreme Rules is to loosely confirm that Brock Lesnar will be at the pay-per-view. It can happen on SmackDown, playing off Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman's interaction on last week's episode. The tribal chief told his special counsel that his job is to find out in advance if Lesnar will be at the event like he seemingly did at SummerSlam. This week could see Heyman confidently informing Reigns that the Beast Incarnate will show up on Sunday whether he appears during Roman Reigns' match against the Demon or afterward. Brock Lesnar may indeed confront the Universal Champion at Extreme Rules. The intrigue would further sell the pay-per-view as a must-watch affair.